Today to this edition of Delta Resources and an interview with Andre Tessier, President and CEO of Delta Resources Limited, ticker symbol DLTA on the TSX Venture Exchange. My name is Frank Candido and I handle corporate communications for the company. Hi, Andre.
Hey, Frank, how are you?
Excellent, thank you. I thought what we would do today is we'd run through a number of questions, many of which are questions that I've received from shareholders, either through email, text message, etc., and really talk about our most recent press release that I want to congratulate you and the team on. You just announced some excellent results on the Delta 2 property in Chibougamau, Quebec. And maybe you can talk to our shareholders a little bit about why these results are significant.
All right. Well, thanks, Frank. Yeah, we're really excited about these new results, and I really have to tip my hat to our exploration team led by Michel Chapdelaine. You know, in gold exploration, whenever you encounter visible gold, you get really excited when you see that in drill core. This is no exception. Obviously, it's early in the game, but this new discovery is significant at Delta 2 because it indicates the potential that we still have at the property. The discovery was made right at the core of the Delta 2 property, so we've got lots of room to move. And it's also at the core of a corridor of structural complexity that's never been drilled before, and it opens up a lot of hunting ground for future gold at Delta 2.
Excellent. So maybe without getting too technical, but if you want to get technical, by all means, geologically, what type of discovery is this? I mean, this is a new discovery, if I'm correct. What is it geologically?
Yeah, well, it's a new discovery. What we were testing is the extension of a small surface showing that we had discovered in 2019, right at surface, where we had gotten up to 55 grams per ton gold in grab samples. So we did a bit of a step out, and we encountered this new gold. Now, when from the get-go, when we stepped onto this property during our due diligence process, even before we acquired the property, Michelle and I stepped onto the R14 gold prospect. And what we were seeing there is that the gold was associated with quartz veining, with a number of generations of felsic dikes that are related to a pluton called the Ladouversière pluton further to the south. Now, we think that this is the same type of magmatic hydrothermal mineralization. But listen, we're really early in the game here, and we've got lots of work to do to gain a better understanding on the controls of the mineralization there. But it's very exciting to start this way.
Yeah, certainly encouraging. So, one of the questions, obviously, that people want to know at this stage of the game, does this discovery have the potential for size?
Well, again, we're early in the game. These are the very first two drill holes onto this new discovery. But that said, we already know that the due diligence gold occurrence I was talking about is about 125 meters away. And we've intersected, up to 50 grams per ton gold in drill core at about 100 meters vertical. So already the system's got some decent size. Now, how far it'll go, we're hoping that it will continue to intersect it, of course. But what's important to remember as well is that. Like I was saying earlier, the deposit or this new discovery lies at the core of a large corridor of a structural complexity. And that corridor is about 5 kilometers long so far and 1.5 kilometers wide. So there's a lot more room for discoveries like this.
Excellent. So my assumption would also be that, given these interesting numbers that you've just published, that there's going to be a follow-up drill plan, at this area. So can you talk about that at all?
Sure. Listen, Michelle and our team of geologists have already planned about 10,000 meters of follow-up drill holes. That may seem excessive, but we really wanted to be ready. We immediately applied for permits when we saw the visible gold. So we applied for permits for new drilling, and we've obtained these permits already. So we're ready to drill again. Now, this 10,000 meters of drilling is not only aimed right at the deposit and their extensions, but we're going to be looking at targets that show very, very similar signature elsewhere within that corridor of high potential that we've defined.
Okay. This next question, you've kind of answered it already, but I'll ask it anyway. Assuming in the follow-up program you encounter more high-grade mineralization, as you have in these first set of holes here, would you consider accelerating the program and adding additional drill rigs?
The short answer to this is a resounding yes. The bigger a discovery gets, the more drill intensive it's going to become. Luckily, we can drill that particular area year round. So even in the summer, the ground is nice and firm. But like you suggested, we probably need an additional drill at the property. But yes, we're definitely ready to go if we need to accelerate the program there.
Excellent. So let's switch gears a little bit here. We've been talking about the hydrothermal gold for obvious reasons because you've made this new discovery, but Delta really has two properties in one package in a sense in Chibougamau, even though it's all part of one property package, which is the VMS, which is something completely different, polymetallic targets, similar to the Lemoyne mine, a little bit to the north of us. So why don't you talk to us about that, the VMS in particular?
Yeah, you're right, Frank. We since the get-go, we've been looking at the gold potential in the southern portion of the property because we feel that it's associated with the La Dauversière pluton. But we've also been looking for gold-rich volcanogenic massive sulfide, or VMS for short, deposits in the north part of the property and the east part of the property. Like you mentioned, the small but extremely rich Lemoine VMS deposit is located just to the north of us, north of property, and we've identified that same stratigraphic horizon for well over 17 kilometers at the Delta 2 property. So our drilling for VMS has been focused on those targets ever since our initial drill program for gold has been done, and we're going to continue drilling these targets until weather permitting this spring.
Okay, and just to remind people, Lemoyne had some incredible grades. In fact, I'll read them off: 4.2% copper, 9.5% zinc, 4.5 grams per ton gold. I mean, these are really some fantastic numbers. So I know that, that your focus has been on gold, but certainly there's copper exposure here. And let's face it, copper has definitely caught a bid. And investors are definitely looking for exposure to copper. So would you consider Delta Resources a company that you could get that exposure to copper from? I know it's early, but with the potential targets we have on the VMS?
Well, I think we definitely are. The grades that you mentioned at the Lemoine deposit, to this day, Lemoine remains the highest grade deposit in Canada, second only to the Eskay Creek mine in BC. The grades of the Lemoine deposit are within the top 1% grades of VMS deposits around the world. So, whenever you hit 4.2% copper, that's good exposure to copper, and those are the types of targets that we're looking for at the Delta 2 property.
So since the new year, I know that Delta has been drilling some of those VMS targets. So can you talk to us about how that's progressing? Because I mean, this is all happening simultaneous. The hydrothermal gold, the VMS. I mean, you know, there's a lot on your plate here, obviously, in Chibougamau. But can you talk to us a little bit about what's happening on the VMS?
Sure. So far, we've drilled 7 of our VMS targets for a total of about 2,000 meters or so. Obviously, the results are still pending. These days, we're looking at 2 months turnaround time for our labs, but hopefully we'll start getting some results very shortly. We still have at least 12 targets to go to test this winter. And we're hoping that we'll be able to complete that first phase of VMS drilling before breakup this year.
Okay, so here's a question that I get asked a lot. How difficult has it been to secure drill rigs and getting timely results? You just mentioned that anyway, but maybe just expand on it a little bit on getting timely results from the labs. I know that in the recent gold results that you've just published, that you had rushed those, which means that you actually had to spend a bit more money to get them. But in general, getting a drill rig these days seems a bit complicated, and getting results in a timely manner seems to be a little bit complicated as well. Can you comment on that?
Sure. Yeah, listen, that was the million-dollar question when we started our drill program this year, and even throughout the fall. We anticipated that labor shortages would be one of our biggest challenges this season, and we were right. Drill crews have been difficult to get. We were fortunate enough to secure a drill rig early in the fall, and the drill rig is still at the property. So in that, we were really lucky. Now, if we wanted to add a second drill to this, we may have to wait for a bit, but we're working on that. The issue at the lab has been the same, but there it's actually been compounded by the COVID-19 crisis, which has slowed down some of these labs, when they were closed down. So the labs right now are at full capacity, and the turnaround time that we're seeing is anywhere between 6 weeks or 2 full months. The only way around this is to pay basically double the price for the analyses. And we only did this for our drill holes 28 and 29 when we started identifying the visible gold in those two zones. So aside from that, we're just being patient and just waiting for our results and being careful with our investors' monies.
Excellent. Okay, so now, Andre, I want you to contain your excitement a little bit here. So I just finished saying that the Quebec property, the Delta Quebec property in Chibougamau, is really 2 property packages in one. You've got the gold hydrothermal target on one end, and you've got the VMS targets on the other end. But we've got the Delta 1 property in Thunder Bay, Ontario, which doesn't seem to get a lot of the spotlight. But, maybe you can tell the shareholders why you're super excited about this property.
Well, listen, it's easy to get caught up with the new discovery at Delta 2 and forget about our Thunder Bay property, but we're still receiving some till results at the Thunder Bay at Delta 1 property in Thunder Bay, and it's making our gold target there more and more interesting. We've identified very anomalous gold over a minimum strike length of 1 kilometer and a minimum width of about 400 meters just south of the Chibougamau structure. And it's on our property, on the Delta 1 property. I really can't wait. This is one of the nicest gold targets I've seen in a very, very long time. I really can't wait to be drilling this property. We're fully permitted. Our drill program is ready to go, and again, it's just a matter at this point of finding a drill rig. But it's a gorgeous target there. We've got well over a kilometer strike length of the Chibougamau structure. And you may recall some of our early press releases this year. In 10-kilogram samples of till, we found 457 grains of gold, and 91% of those grains were pristine. And what that's indicating, 457 grains of gold is well over 50 times background, gold in till in that area. And the fact that 91% of these grains were pristine tells us that we're very close to source. So I'm really excited about that property, and I think everybody at Delta is very excited. We all know what sort of beautiful target that is, and we can't wait to drill it.
Okay, so that answers my next question, really. Then, so I guess we can expect an update from you with respect to the drill plan and when we expect to drill there shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as we can secure a drill, we are ready to start there. The drill program is all set up and fully permitted. So we're good to go.
And we've got the bandwidth to handle both properties at the same time.
Oh yeah. Again, it's all dependent on getting a drill, but in terms of internal personnel, we're ready to go. We're good.
Excellent. Good stuff. Okay, so now without getting too promotional, let's talk about the stock, all right? Let's face it, junior exploration companies haven't exactly hit it out of the park in the last 6 months. The market's been on fire. Lots of stocks, micro cap stocks and small cap stocks have had tremendous surges, especially in areas like tech, crypto, cannabis, you name it. But for whatever reason, the price of gold has really lagged. It certainly hasn't done what a lot of the experts thought it would do. And as a result, the juniors, especially the ones that are focused on gold, have sort of lagged as well. So we're kind of trading in the area of where we completed our financing on September 30th, 2020, which was 35 cents. And that stock is all free trading, of course. And we're sort of in that same area of around 35 cents. So I guess that's good news in the sense that we haven't had a sell-off on the stock, et cetera. But is this a good time, given that we've got two properties in Quebec in one, and one of which has a tremendous exposure to copper, which copper has done well and continues to do well, and copper stocks seem to be, catching bids, and having this third property in Ontario, both in fantastic jurisdictions, both within proximity of major centers, et cetera. Is this a good time to get into Delta Resources?
Well, I'll echo what you're saying. This may sound promotional, but I feel the pricing of Delta's last financing is pretty much the bottom that we're going to be seeing in the future. I should remind our investors that both institutions, CDEX and SDBG, are two great Quebec institutional investors, participated in our financing in September, and yet they came again at the same price in February of this year, so that we could expand our drilling program. So we love that, they believe in our team and they believe in our properties. I think resources are a bit like real estate in a way, is they just don't go away. And those resources that we're going to be defining on these properties are going to be really hot in the very near future. So I'd say get in right now.
Yesterday, I watched a video, an interesting video on Kitco, Andre, where a former money manager, longtime money manager, has made the jump into the exploration business. And he listed a number of important factors that he looked at, in terms of wanting to make an investment in a junior. Management, past track record of management, board, properties, potential for scale, jurisdiction. Do you think Delta ticks all the boxes?
I know it does. Listen, our board and our executive, we've got a really strong technical team with a record of increasing shareholder value from our different experiences in public companies. And right now, the properties that we have are just they're ripe. I think Delta is in a great position and has all the attributes that investors should be looking at before investing in a resource company.
Excellent, Andre. I appreciate it. My name is Frank Candido. I handle corporate communications. I can be reached at fcandido@deltaresources.ca. You've just heard from Andre Tessier, CEO and president of Delta Resources, and he can be reached at atessier@deltaresources.ca. Thank you, Andre. Have a great day.
You're welcome. Delta is ready for takeoff, Frank.
Let's do it.